Alright guys, so as you can see we are here for my F1 Esports Monaco race highlights, and this is undoubtedly the biggest race I've ever done in my sim racing career so far. And yeah, I'm sure you guys are all aware of the format of how F1 Esports has worked, but this was the fourth race out of four, so this was the only one I qualified for through the event, and this was pretty much my one and only chance to get to the pro draft by getting in the top three here today around Monaco. And I have to say my preparation for this wasn't perfect, as I will discuss in a minute, but we have 5 red lights and away we go here for this 25% race, and not getting the greatest launch off the line, but starting in P6 we're in a good position, going around the outside of Danny there, and he tries to push us into the wall. I don't think that was deliberate, but we've gone around him into P number 5, and we're starting on the super soft tyre, which is the harder tyre, so we're going for a different strategy which you'll see in a minute. But as I was saying, my preparation for this race was definitely not ideal, because it was in the middle of my exam week for AS levels and end of year, first year A level exams and things like that, which is not ideal because obviously that's going to be the main focus. So I didn't really get as much practice as I wanted to in this. I still got a decent amount of practice in, but it wasn't perfect, let's say. And also in AOR Belgium, which happened the weekend before, I had an issue with my first set of pedals, which I still haven't sorted out, but I'm hoping they can get fixed. And I do have a spare set of pedals, so I'm using them here today, which do feel very, very different to my first set, and it's weird how different they feel considering the first ones I've obviously had for over a year, so they're quite worn in. But yeah, I'm using my second set of pedals, which didn't feel amazing to me because they wouldn't reach 100% brake pressure, so I had to switch the saturation up to 10%, which does change the feel of the brake, and you have to get used to that really, really quickly, which was difficult to do. But you can see we're in P5, so we're doing really, really well so far, and to get to P3 is where I need to be to get in the pro draft in the top 3, and we're in a good position. We're on the harder tyre, and I'm going for an undercut on lap 3, as you will see, and this strategy was recommended to me through one of my Veloce Esports teammates, Formula Danny, and also my brother, who recommended it first. And I have to say it was a very, very good call, because in 25% races the tyres, especially around this track, don't wear at all really, and to go for the undercut is definitely going to give me the best shot possible to get in the pro draft. And you can see that the top 4 are starting to pull away, but the only person in the top 4 other than well, I don't think there was anyone other than pro to be on the super soft tyres, so it's just pro, myself and Danny out of the top 6 who are on the super soft tyres. So we're in a good position at the moment in P5, and if we can get this undercut to work really well, who knows where we can finish, and hopefully it'll be in the top 3. But as you may have noticed, you can hear the sound of my force feedback on my wheel and also the gear shifting in the background, and that's because I accidentally recorded my mic sounds, which was not intentional, but you don't hear me like shouting down the mic or anything, because I don't do that in league races or anything like that. But you can just hear the sound of the force feedback in the background, which, yeah, that wasn't intentional. But here on lap 3, the pace is still looking good, and I was matching the pace I was doing in practice, to be honest. And yeah, the practice I didn't fill me with too much confidence, because I didn't really ever feel too amazing around this track in the 25% races, because 25% races just really do not suit my style, and the whole system they've used this year has not suited my style in any way with the event and the 25% races like this, which, yeah, there's so much different to 50% AOR races, and it does not suit my style at all. And I really hope they go back to the AOR system they used last year. But coming towards the end of lap 3 now, we're on another good lap here, and we're going around the penultimate corner, and we're going to head into the pits now to get the undercut. But I was hoping no one else was going to do the same thing, but unfortunately Pro has done the same thing, and Danny as well has followed us in. So clearly these guys have probably watched the PC and Xbox races and realised that it is possible to do the undercut, although no one really did it in those 2 races. But people have clicked on now that you can do it, which wasn't what I wanted, to be honest, as we don't really let go of the pit limiter that early there, and we've lost a tiny bit of time through that. Taking the pit exit nice and clean there, and back on track onto the track now, and now we've got to push, because this is our chance really to get the undercut. I know the guys are probably going to pit a lap later who started on ultra softs, which they're going to go to cover us off and get the undercut themselves. But yeah, it was yeah, people have clicked on to the fact that you can do the undercut, which is, yeah, that's a downside of PS4 going last, to be honest, because I was hoping I'd be the only one to do that, because then it could put me in a really good position with usually people like starting on Ultra Softs going to Super Softs, usually they'd pit around lap 6, lap 7, but unfortunately people have clicked onto it, as I've said already, and we're only going to get about 1 lap undercut compared to guys in the top 3 at the moment, and Pro is also getting the undercut as well, and he was pretty rapid. He's already started to pull away from us at this particular moment, but we are pushing hard now. And yeah, on the actual day of this race, which was yesterday, when I'm like from the time I'm commentating right now, the race actually started an hour later than intended because of issues with PSN, which, yeah, is no real surprise, to be honest. It happens quite often with PSN, but yeah, that wasn't ideal to anyone's preparation, to be honest. But eventually everyone got into the lobby despite many attempts and many issues, but eventually we're all racing. You can see the top 2, well, provisional top 2 out of those who have pitted have now come out, and we're not too far behind them. And Epic Gamer in P6, he's in P3 out of the cars that have pitted. The 2 in front are yet to pit, so we're effectively ahead of them. They were in like the bottom end of the top 10 anyway, and we are now in provisional P4. And it's a weird feeling, definitely, knowing that you've got many people watching the Twitch stream, and you can see P3 right in front of you in its position to get to the Pro Draft. It's definitely a weird feeling, but also one where you know you've got such an amazing opportunity that you can grab here if you can get through. And you can see we're pushing so hard at the moment. We're actually catching them pretty rapidly at the moment. The top 3 are being caught by us at a pretty rapid rate, and you can see going down the pit straight now towards the line, and we've set an 11.2, which is a pretty rapid time, and that is the fastest lap of the race. And I was feeling very confident at this time, and you can see there's a ghosted car in front, and that's Nico Fiore, who unfortunately for him disconnected from the session, which is, yeah, that's a massive shame for him. And I really feel sorry for him, because that must be horrible when you're in a position to get to the Pro Draft and then you disconnect. But you can see we're now right on the back of the top 3, and at this moment I was really getting pretty hyped, because the lead is right there pretty much, and the guy in front, Epic Gamer, I've just got to try and pressurise him into a mistake, and then we could be going to the Pro Draft, which, yeah, is, as I said already, a pretty weird feeling when you can, like, the position is so close to you to getting in P3, but you've just got to be very careful to, like, obviously Monaco is going to be very difficult to make a move and get past, and you don't want to take the guy out, because that's not good for anyone really, and you'll probably get a penalty in the end. But yeah, it's looking hopeful for us at the moment, and crossing the line, setting 11.8, that's not really a great time, but we're now in the fight for the top 3, which is where I was intending to be, but considering the fact others did the undercut as well, I didn't expect to be. But we've gone from 6th to 5th at the start, and now we've undercut into, we haven't undercut, Nico Fiore retired, but disconnected, but we're into P4 now, and we are in such a good position, and we can possibly get this position here. But going to the hairpin now, you can see I've lost part of my wing, and that is so unfortunate, because we still have 13 laps left, and as you can probably already tell, we have absolutely tons of understeer, and honestly, that, as soon as you do that with the simulation damage in these races, it's pretty much game over. And I'm not going to pit, because then you're definitely out of the running. But we're still in P4, so maybe the guys in front will make a mistake, but yeah, that's pretty much our chances gone, and that's a massive shame, because it's such a silly error to make, just the slightest tap on the back of the car in front, and we've now got damage. But we're actually sticking with them for the moment, but it is definitely a massive effort when you've got quite a bit of understeer, and you can see the times have dropped. We now set at 12.1, which is quite a bit off the pace already. So yeah, with this understeer we're really starting to struggle a bit, and now Vamos Danny is starting to catch onto the back of us now, and yeah, I knew that from here it's going to be a big ask to get us into the top 3 and into the Pro Draft. But top 2 are yet to pit. They'll come out behind us, because they're running well, they were out pretty much outside the fight for the top 3 anyway, and they are going to be pretty much massively undercut by us top 5. so they're not really going to be in our fight at all. But yeah, it's a shame for us that happened, but we're not too far off them, so I was really hoping that they can make some kind of error. But Vamos Danny is now pretty much right onto the back of us, and you can see now onto lap 10 he is right onto the back of us now. But before this race I was never really that nervous about it. I was always really excited about the opportunity to get into the pro draft, and it's going quite well, but with this front wing damage it's going to be difficult throughout the remainder of the race. But down the inside goes Vamos Danny, and I was not expecting that into Saint Devot there, but we're now going side by side up the hill, banging wheels a bit there up the hill as well, so this is getting quite dangerous with the simulation damage, everything. We don't want to get any sort of contact, and he goes round the outside of Casino and he makes a pretty nice move on us there. And despite the fact he kind of didn't leave me too much room in the second part, it was a pretty fair move, and in like quite a tense, nervous situation like this in an F1 Esports race, he made a very good move, and fair play to him for that. And I wasn't that happy to get overtaken around the outside of Casino, but I kind of took it cautiously as well, like going around there, because I didn't want to get any kind of damage myself, well, any more damage compared to what I already have. But Vamos Danny has made that move there, and from here we have a big gap behind to FIT Sauro, I think that's how you say that, from Formula Italian team. And yeah, he's a long way behind, and unfortunately Danny's going to pull away from us as well, and the top three are going to continue to pull away as well. So it's going to be, yeah, a big ask for anything to happen. We're going to have a collision from the top three probably in order to get us into the pro draft, which is very unlikely. But yeah, I have many more years ahead to keep on trying, and as I've said already, I really hope they do use the AOR format next year, because that is so much better in my opinion than the event, which, to be honest, they didn't get it right this year in my opinion, with 5 lap sprints with AI in the way. It's not the best way to choose F1 Esports drivers in my opinion, and there's definitely people who've qualified for the pro draft who race in AOR and they're not that great in AOR, and yeah, unfortunately they're going to the pro draft, and as an AOR champion myself I've struggled. But we finished P5 in the end, which actually turned out to be P4 because Vamos Danny got a 10-second time penalty for wall riding, I believe. So P4 in the end, we got very close, and I thoroughly enjoyed this opportunity to race, and I hope you guys have enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for the support. I know I got quite a bit of support in the Twitch stream comments, so I'm very grateful for that. And yeah, I hope you have enjoyed. Leave a like if you have, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and I will see you very soon for whatever my next video may be, probably AOR highlights, and I think that's around Silverstone, so I will see you then. Goodbye.